Welcome to day 9 of the 12 Days of Data Storytelling, where I take ideas and concepts from my new book, Effective Data Storytelling, to share with you. Now, on day 9, I want to talk about one person who is a key part of every data story. That's a storyteller. Every data story has a storyteller. There are 9 different tasks and responsibilities that I've identified for a data storyteller. So the first one is somebody needs to identify an insight. Somebody needs to recognize that a data point is important and needs to be shared. You could be the person who finds that insight as the analyst, or you could be somebody who's receiving an insight from an analyst and deciding this needs to be communicated more broadly to other people. The second thing is to minimize and remove bias. We all have inherent biases. So what we need to do is recognize what our biases are and try to be as objective as we can with our data stories. The third thing is to gain adequate context. Before we start running with an insight, we need to make sure we've put it in perspective and we've gained adequate background information on the insight. And we can incorporate that into the message that we share with our audience. The fourth task is to understand the audience. Every data story is going to have a unique audience, and you need to understand what their needs and interests are and then tailor the content to that audience. The fifth task is to curate the information. As the data storyteller, you serve essentially like an editor. You decide what data should be included and what data should be left out. You're trying to strike that balance between not providing too much information that you overwhelm your audience or too little information where you don't really catch their attention. The sixth responsibility of the data storyteller is to assemble the story. Somebody has to go in and decide how the different data elements are going to flow together. What is going to be the structure and the organization? How is the content going to be delivered to the audience? Those are decisions that are made by the data storyteller. The seventh responsibility of the data storyteller is to provide narration. You act as a guide for the audience through the data to help them understand and interpret the data correctly. So your voice becomes an integral part of every data story. The eighth thing is to choose visuals. And as we know, with data, it can be visualized in multiple different ways. So your design choices, what visuals and how you visualize that information and what data points you pull out from the visualizations are going to be critical to the strength of your data story. Then the ninth and last responsibility of the data storyteller is to add credibility. Your expertise, your reputation will strengthen and add credibility to your data story. And inversely, if you are overly biased or you have an agenda, then your audience will perceive that and then they may discount your data story. As you can tell from all these tasks and responsibilities, the role of the data storyteller is an integral part of data storytelling. My book is designed to be a handbook and a guide to help you maximize your potential as a data storyteller. I look forward to sharing more with you in day 10 of the 12 Days of Data Storytelling. Stay tuned.